Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Patriot Patch Company and Camerado. Ken.
Yes.
Those who spend time in Discord know who you are, but why don't you introduce yourself to the rest of the kids?
So, my name is Ken. Initially met Mike several years ago when I volunteered at Cabela's so I could buy guns. And primarily, I am a competitive steel challenge shooter. I've shot quite a bit of USPSA, a little bit of dabbled in F class a little bit, and PRS, and NRL 22. I grew up hunting and started reloading a few years ago. Primarily, I reload 9mm for competition shooting, shooting my PCC and centerfire pistols in steel challenge competition.
All right. And you're responsible for dragging me out to do steel challenge.
I am. And I've dragged others too, Paul and
a
few others.
Yeah. All right. So tonight we're gonna. Oh, I forgot to stream it on Discord. Whoops. There we go. So we had a question. I don't remember where it was. Well, oh, so that's going to show up over there. I don't want to do that though. I hadn't tried to do. Okay, there we go. I gotta leave that alone. I hadn't tried to do anything with Discord other than streaming, and I found out that I can't do that. So, yay, Rumble's working. So we had a topic, and I want to say it was actually, so we actually had a couple of topics that were interesting today. One of the guys was using a laser rangefinder with his Athlon Rangecraft, and he was noticing interference. So depending on where you research this, it's possible that it can cause an issue, and it's possible that it can't, depending on who you talk to. Because theoretically, laser and Doppler are on different ends of the spectrum. So it's not supposed to cause problems. I'm going to try and go out Saturday and see if I can test it. Because I know where my laser rangefinder is, and the Athlon and the Garmin are right there. So, which reminds me, I got to plug them in and charge them to make sure. And see. So, but the other thing that came up in the rifle questions is a question that was brought up by Jack B. He noticed he was having issues trimming. And some people don't know how a trimmer works. And so I kind of wanted to bring this up and show it. So what we've got here is we've got a RCBS Trim Pro, as it says right there. And the big thing I wanted to talk about is this part here. And let me see here if I can zoom in on it. I got to get that app open. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so I zoomed in. I just got to slide the camera over. Okay, so and this is standard style. Most of your trim is set up like this, where they've got two different wheels, shall we call them. I'm sure there's a technical name for it, and I just don't remember off the top of my head. So, but as demonstration, here's my Lyman, albeit rusty, but same thing. As you can see, though, the RCBS is graduated. So that's an advantage there. What I'm looking for right now is the wrench, and I don't see it. Ow. But that's okay, because where did I put it?
Well, while you're looking for that, so the laser rangefinder, it definitely is not the interfering, just because it's an infrared spectrum versus a microwave. Right. So I mean, they're not even in the same neighborhood, let alone, they're not on the same spectrum, right?
Right.
So
yeah, that's what we kind of found.
But then might be having issues with. So I'm assuming it's the laser range. He was thinking that the laser rangefinder was interfering with the radar.
No, other way around. He was literally getting 10 yards, no matter where he was scanning. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he might have an issue with the rangefinder.
Yep.
And it might just be an issue with the rangefinder, or it could be maybe he had something that was literally like a speck of something on the emitter that was giving him a false reading.
That's a possibility, but the other kicker is he tested it later when he was done, when the Athlon was put away, and it worked fine. So, but the one thing he didn't do at that time is point it in a different direction. So, yeah, I don't know. I did a quick search on Google. Google said, no, they're on different ends of the spectrum. They shouldn't have any issues. I did a quick check using DuckDuckGo, and DuckDuckGo's first search was useless because it didn't search what the search terms were. So then I put it in again and did a second search, and it actually came up with information, and it had literally both sides of the coin saying that yes, it could, or no, it wouldn't. So
it depends on
theoretically it should not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically it should not.
So one of my certifications is in radio wave communication, more specifically wireless communication, specifically for it's outdated by now, but essentially your wireless internet. And it just does not make sense.
No.
Unless there was some kind of interference where this is like about only slightly more likely than there was actually electromagnetic interference because he was holding it too close to the radar.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense either, right? Because we're not talking any kind of super powerful output here.
No, it's not like either of them are putting out megawatts.
No.
So. Yeah, so I mean that was kind of the I'm just tossing it out there more or less to see if anybody else has noticed any issues. I'm doubting that it was caused by that. Billy and I and a couple others had talked in the chat. He said he was going to possibly go test it. I'm going to try and test it this weekend. So. Just for kicks. And I've got a cheap ass rangefinder, so okay, there we go. Looking for the trim to length on the 308 because I just moved it. So so I already had this set up to do 308, but as I am frequent to do, I am giving up my preset stuff for the podcast. So trim 2 is 2.005. Okay. Oh, Billy said he's got his out now. Oh, well, Billy, you should join the podcast so we can get this on video, dang it. Anyway. So what I wanted to point out is you've got your gross adjustments, which is this, and then you've got your fine adjustments, which is this. And I purposely unscrewed it all the way off to show that. So now you can have this all the way screwed down if you want, or you can have it almost all the way off. Basically what that does is gives you your stopping point. So this is what meets the actual trimmer housing and keeps it from moving any farther. We were talking about possibility of flexing. If it's not tightened down, if you don't tighten down your lock ring on this, then it's possible this could move back and forth. This doesn't matter as much because you have to physically turn it. The amount of pressure that you would have to put on that to actually get it to turn or move is beyond what the metal is capable of holding. So, but if this whole entire thing isn't locked down, then you're going to have problems. So, I usually, just because it's a little more solid, and I usually don't do fine measuring, I'll usually keep it close. But what I'll do is I'll line up the set screws so it's easier to find them if I need them. So you can actually tighten this set screw down, and this still moves. Now it won't turn. The fine adjustment won't turn. So basically what you want to do is kind of, what I usually do is I'll do this and then grab it here. So I've got it like that. When I go to tighten the set screw to lock it in place. And it's just kind of get it so it's easier to set. So Billy said no issues with Athlon Rangecraft Chrono and Vortex Diamondback rangefinder. So,
which is what you would expect. I'm guessing he probably, most likely, because he was getting a consistent 10 yards.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't obvious where he, I'm assuming that the weather conditions weren't obvious that he was trying to shoot in the rain and or something like that. Or he was getting, depending on how much he was shooting before he was trying to range, maybe he was getting some mirage off the barrel, but that even doesn't sound like. I'm guessing he had something on the emitter, and then he set it down, and it, blew off or
yeah, when he put it in the case, he knocked it off or something.
Yeah, whatever, right? And
right.
it I'm almost, I would, if I'm putting any money on it, I'm putting it on it being visible. Yeah, if he's okay, yeah, he at an angle. So he said he even tested it at an angle with snow. So
Yeah.
and snow is not necessarily the easiest thing to range.
No.
So I almost guaranteed that he had something that was occluding the emitter.
Yep. All right. So now I need to, where'd it go? So now I'm going to zoom back out to normal size. And so I've got a untrimmed piece of 308 brass, which is what this is set up for. Normally this would be anchored down, especially with the way that this works. So the way this is designed is you push down on this handle and it actually pushes out this shell plate. So then you slide it down in. You bring your pilot. So yeah, pilot, and you put it into the neck, and then you start turning and see if you're the correct length. So I actually switched out the brass from the one I was using because, as you can see, that neck's real interesting now from playing around with it. So I'm not going to try and use that for my overall length because that wouldn't be very accurate. Does anybody in the chat remember what the length is? Two zero zero nope, 2005. So now this is actually where one of those times that I don't do things, and I'm going to shoot myself in the mouth or in the foot because 2009. So I need to do 4,000ths. So this is where this comes in handy. Here's what I can do is I can loosen that set screw. And when you do this, make sure the whole thing doesn't move, which it doesn't. So, and what you can do is you can just, if the gradients are numbered, that makes it easier. These aren't. So, I can't remember if these are hundredths. So I'm just going to go basically one click right now, lock it back down. And yes, I know I could figure it out if I got the instructions out, but I don't care to because I don't know where they are. So put that back in, put that back in. So, and I'm not trimming any brass off. So,
did you go the right way?
Huh?
So, my primary way of trimming brass is I use a Girard case trimmer. I have used a similar device to what Mike has used, and I also like the World's Greatest Little Trimmer or whatever it is.
World's Finest Trimmer.
World's finest trimmer. The only problem I had with that was it was you had to buy one for everyone, and I was doing so much trimming that my hands were just getting sore trimming cases, and I'm like, eh. So, and I also wanted a three-way cutter, so that's why I went with the Girard. The less I touch the brass, the better. But
So now you're finding out the issues with the minor adjustments. Because it's literally minor adjustment.
That's the one issue with that style of trimmer. I mean, once you get them dialed in, they're great.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't found that any trimmer is easy to dial in.
Yeah.
Especially because you're dealing with such a small difference.
Yeah.
With each one.
Interesting. Somehow it got all gooed up. So that's weird. Anyway, let's check the case. So, Paul, how do you trim your cases? There, Mr. Paul in the chat. There you go. So we got 1,000 saw. But why is that all of a sudden stuck? Ooh, that's bad. All right, I'll be back in a second. So I gotta go up to the garage where the chemicals are. I don't have any in here. Not that I should be spraying them in here anyway. I'll be right back. Because somehow it got goo on it. Magic. Got it? Yeah.
So, world's finest trimmer is probably the way is the step down. They do have a universal one that you can adjust for different setups. At the time, I bought it case specific for 6 arc because that's all I was reloading at that point. Yeah, the Gerard. So the Gerard is expensive, but when you're doing a lot of cases, and at the point I was doing it, I was doing, 400 or 500 cases over a short period of time. So I was doing a lot. It was beating up my hands, and every time you're not only are you trimming, right, but you're also, then you're chamfering and deburring. With the Gerard, it wasn't that, and the Gerard's not that expensive to convert for conversion. Not comparatively. When I looked at it, I looked at the Henderson, which was more expensive in the long run if you wanted the powered version. So the Henderson took itself out. The Gerard was a step down, but yeah, I would say the World's Finest trimmer is probably where I would recommend. Otherwise, there's a number of them, the RCBS, the Lymans, that are out there. Really, it wasn't that I didn't pay $80 for my last caliber. I paid $50. Now, granted, it was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, so a year ago, yeah. So I'm sure they've gone up, but the Henderson was more expensive per caliber to do it. At least when I was comparing them, because I was actually looking at the Henderson I like the Henderson over the Rod, just because of the way it went in. But keep in mind that with any recommendation I would make is go with a 3-way trimmer now, right? And there's some options out there. RCBS has got one. The Little Crow Works is the one that makes World's Finest trimmer. They've got one. Of course, the Gerard, the Henderson. I'm assuming Lyman's got a 3-way trimmer. I think most of them anymore you'll see have that 3-way trimmer option. So that would be my recommendation: is find one that does all three at once, because it's less touching of brass.
I put some powdered graphite or liquid graphite on it, let it dry for a second, but doesn't seem to have really made much difference. So what I'll have to do is take it apart at some point in time. But it's serviceable for now. So
I didn't know that Ugly had a case trimmer. I haven't really looked at newer case trimmers in a while. Because I have one that works just fine, and really haven't had a need to look.
All right, that's it.
So yeah, the Ugly is very similar to Little Crow Gunworks trimmer.
I'm tired of it moving.
It won't do it now.
Nope. Okay. So yay, brass fairy dust. So be careful after you pull it off the trimmer, after you've actually trimmed some, because it is pretty sharp. I check it before I chamfer and deburr. Now see, that is way too short. So somewhere along the lines with the stickiness or whatever, it got out of whack, because I'm at 196. Mike doesn't have a new reloading bench. Pots. So So I'm going to put it back to the way it was. We'll toss that brass over there. Nice thing is I have a few hundred pieces of 308, so I don't mind using it for testing. Oh, I forgot to measure it first. So we'll check here again. And this one's 209. 2009. So, and obviously, I don't know if you can, yeah, you can clearly see there's a space there. So, pretty sure that's going to make it too big. Yes, 1.96 is okay if all are like that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it flush, or snug, I should say, and then I'm going to back it off like I was doing before, except I'm going the opposite direction. So and so what I did is I pushed it back and then rotated it so I could get to the set screw. Push it in. And so I'm not actually cutting any into the brass. So that means I need to do a little more of an adjustment.
One thing you can do is if you actually have a piece of brass that's trimmed to length, you can use it as a guide.
Yep.
So what you do is you'd run it up flush to the brass, and then back it off just a little bit and find a piece that's long and slowly turn it down.
So that time it did take a smidge off. So I'm going to check it. Not enough to make a difference.
Just took the high spot off.
Yep. And every time you make an adjustment, measure it. Otherwise, that's how you wind up with 1.96 when you're trying to get to 4 thousandths off. You wind up with a couple hundredths off. So that was halfway there. I don't think I made any difference, but we're going to measure anyway. And that's why we measure, because we did. All right, so now we got it set right. So then it's just a matter of put your new piece of brass in. Make sure it's set right in here. There's a couple different styles. There's one that uses shell holders. Then there's this one here. So basically with this one, this is the lineman. There's a stainless steel ball in the middle you got to push down. Pilot. Anyway, so there's a little stainless steel ball you got to push down here. And then there's two jaws that move as you lock and unlock. So basically you got to make sure you get it set to where it's loose, which is not that way. And sometimes you'll find out this thing sticks. So if you take your finger and move them, you can tell if the jaws are loose or tight. So and it's not playing nice. So I think, if I remember correctly, maybe you have to have it primed or deprimed. I don't know. So we'll grab a piece of deprimed bass and check. This is a old worn that somebody gave me, so I don't know if it's even functioning. So, which it doesn't look like it is. Oh, there we go. Anyway, so that's how you get it in there. Then it locks in like that. You bring your pilot, blah, blah, blah. Not when it works right.
Well, actually,
that's an old worn rusty one. When it actually, you get one that's, I just have it for demonstration. I don't actually use it.
It seems like it would slow you down just because you have to rotate it. I mean, you still have to,
when it works, when you've got it anchored down and it works like it's supposed to, it's not really much different than this. Because literally the brass actually slides in real smooth and you just turn it quick. So I guess, I don't know. I guess I never really thought about whether it would or wouldn't. So,
yeah. I mean, anytime you're adding an extra step, obviously it's going to slow you down.
Right. So, but yeah, it's not much different than the rest. So, and you can't push too hard, like I said earlier. So,
well, I think we're going to see in the near future, we'll likely see some inexpensive automated version as far as automated powered versions come out with stepper motors becoming more and more commonplace being used for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because the powered ones, the big problem is it's having something that's got enough torque to be able to cut it and still maintain enough speed where you're not potentially gouging your brass and stuff like that, even with sharp. So I think we'll see some newer ones. I believe it's the new Henderson one uses stepper motors. They moved away from the belt drive.
Yeah. I was going to show you my little crow trimmer, but I don't know where the heck it went. So we're going to use the Lyman, or I mean the Hornady. So
I know where mine went, somewhere in North Wisconsin, to a guy off of Facebook.
Your Hornady or your?
My little crow.
Oh, why you didn't like it?
No, I didn't need it anymore. I had the Gerard.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, this isn't this is the perfect prep tool. So it's for
chamfering, deburring, and
yeah,
yep.
thinning out your primer pockets. So
So when
this
I'm not using my Gerard for that, I actually use the my burst fire. I use it basically the same tools, but it's on the top of my annealer.
yeah.
So
So basically, this has 3 spots. I've only got 2 things in it right now. It uses standard, like if you buy the Lyman kit, those will screw in here, like the Lyman hand tool. Those will screw in here. Otherwise, you can actually get the specific Hornady ones. But this is chamfer and deburr. You can have your primer pocket cleaner here. Basically, just a low voltage. Well, not low voltage. So it does take some talent to get used to how long, and especially when you're going to chamfer the outside. So as you can you see that? Does that show up where it's jumping?
what do you mean jumping?
The brass, as you're trying to feed it in there, it doesn't always go right.
Oh yeah.
So
It's not jumping bad, but yeah.
But yeah, so that's that'll save your hand. So
Well, and yeah, it definitely. But if you start handling, when you're doing 300-400 pieces at a time, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Even with the Gerard, my hands start to fatigue over time.
yeah.
Right.
Randall, which Lee trimmer? That's what I want to know. So, and then what you want to do is you feel the ends of it, and like this still has a bit
Does
on
the
the
Lee
outside.
trimmer that? And I want to know, he says it deburrs? Does it also chamfer?
So, all right, so that's that.
And if you want to get real fancy, you can get the trimmers that you mount on progressive presses.
Mm-hmm. Dylan makes one.
Dylan makes one. I know. Well, Lyman, but it's through the Mark 7. They've got one.
Yeah. So.
Actually, looking at on the single stage case trimmer that they've got for Lee, actually looks like it'd actually be a pretty consistent way of hand trimming.
So so Lee has the Deluxe Power Quick Trim, which will mount into a press. Basically, it uses existing shell holder, and then it works with a drill, and it's got the drill kind of sits on top of the die. Okay. Otherwise, they've got just the regular quick trims, which I have somewhere around here. Is that it? Yep, that's it. So this is the quick trim. And this works one of two ways. So this is the actual trimmer unit. So yeah, it chamfers into burrs. So like this. And then you can see here, it's actually the chamfer into burr part moves in, and then the actual cutter is still right there. So essentially like that.
Yeah, so you go 3. Be a good way of going about it.
This is actually set up to using a drill. Just chucks up. And then this is your this sits in like this. This one's for 223, but it'll sit in your press like this, and then it's got a hole in the middle. I'm dumb. There. So as I pull this out, you can see the hole. So that's actually a 223 shoulder, and then it goes through, and there's just a little spot on the other side.
Is it index off the shoulder then?
What's that?
So does it index off the shoulder?
Because
then you would need a different shoulder index for different.
I don't know if it's actually a shoulder per se. It doesn't really look like a regular full shoulder. So.
Okay.
But then you also, if you don't have a drill, it also can use
a
little hand knob. So and then it's got a blocking collar. So. And then you also have the old style. So this actually goes on your press over the shell holder as a shield to keep the brass chippings from falling down into the ram. So
Nagy says he thinks it's brass specific. The cutter looks universal. Let's see, quick trim dies. Yes, so the die itself. So you're going to buy a different body die.
This part is caliber specific.
Yeah.
And then the other one that Lee makes is this one, which is the old style, the hand style. And so what you can do with this is this is also caliber specific. They're actually cartridge specific even more. And so each one of these, like this is 308. So each one of these is specific, and it doesn't have a preset depth per se. This one you do have to have it deprimed. Where did I go?
So I would be careful on the
This one goes through like this. Basically, you can leave it loose or you can tighten it down like that. So,
so looking at the leads real quick, it seems like an inexpensive option, but I don't know if you're going to be able to find specific bodies.
So it's set to a specific length.
Yeah.
So, and then, so you can either have this. What some people will do is actually mount this in a vise, and then have a drill, or you can use it with a drill press. You can do it by hand. So, but this is just like that. So, and then this is Lee's chamfer and deburr tool. Just like that. So yeah, basically it's simple parts. So, and I think they used to make a wooden handle for this. I don't know if they still do or not. So, but this does not work on it. So that's the Lee ones. They work pretty good, and they're pretty consistent, which, as Paul was saying earlier, that's the key. It's not necessarily that you're always getting them the exact same. It's not as important if you get, you get that 2005 if you're getting the 1962 every single time. So if your cases are all the same length, that's kind of the more important thing. But you don't want to get them too short, because that's a problem too. So, but they still do make the pull string, I think. Let me look. You go down there where you're supposed to be. You go here. Yeah, see, they still do make the cutter with the ball grip, but that's for the other end, not for the quarter shank. So, and Lee does have a different chamfer tool, chamfer and deburr tool too, that's even simpler. I don't know where mine is though. And they also make an adapter that you can use into the 8/32 thread prep stations for that setup. So, and then they make a deluxe case conditioning combo, which comes with the primer pocket cleaner, the cutter, the end stud, and the chamfer tool. So then all you got to do is just buy the case length gauge. So I'm looking to see where the case length gauges are. There we go. So the case length gauges are like $8 a pop. So, except for the 50 BMG and the Beowulf, they're a little different. So, and that's off Lee's website. So, I don't know if I don't see the. I actually don't see the pull cord in one anymore. Deluxe case trim. Weird. Lee's website just decided to go cranky. So off to Titan we go. There it is. I don't know if it's still available though. Oh, I found Jim's drink of choice, Liquid ALX Bullet Lubricant. I don't know why it's there, but whatever. So that's the case length. All right. Let's see here. Come on. It doesn't look like they have the zip trim still available, which was the pull cord one. So it looks like they finally killed that off.
Doesn't seem like that would be very consistent.
You can still get parts for it. It was basically like, think of it like a recoil on a pull start for a mower.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they did have a way to mount it. So it basically just spun the case for you. So, but yeah, I don't know if it was very consistent or not, because it's a lot of extra putzing around, so I never bought one. Anyway, so Paul wanted to know if anybody used the Lyman Power Trim Express. Travis bought one and he liked it. I know a couple other people. Oder Sigerson said, I think I will just save up some money and go with the Hornaday High Speed 3-in-1 Power Case Trimmer.
That's the Henderson knockoff, right?
I think so. I'm going to double check here quick.
If I was in the market, I would consider it.
I would get the the RCBS.
They've got a new one coming out, right?
Yeah. Actually, last week Joel was on and showed it off.
Okay, I didn't see the episode last week, so
Yeah.
I know the one they had was way too big and clunky.
Yeah. So the high speed 3-in-1. I wonder how much that damn thing is. Let's find out. So it's currently on sale for $629.99 at Midway.
That to do? You said the Hornady one. Is that the one you're talking about? What's on sale for?
Yep.
At that point, you might as well just go with the Henderson itself.
The RCBS Matchmaster is $699.99. That's the one that they actually worked with Henderson. So, and I think they actually, I don't know if Henderson's making theirs anymore.
I know they were bought out. Was that RCBS that bought them out?
But the Henderson is $779. But if you want the hand powered one, it's oh no, that's the Gen 3 conversion, $439. So yeah, the Matchmaster. It's the Matchmaster Precision Power Case Trimmer powered by Henderson. So upgraded motor, micrometer length adjustment, containment guard, brass catcher, easily mounts. So yeah, basically Henderson and RCBS got together and
Made a baby.
Yep. Fixed it. Or I shouldn't say fixed it, but adjusted it. Dooby-dooby-doo.
Just so you know, the camera's kind of just pointed at your stomach there, Mike.
Oh yeah. Well, people want to rather look at that in my face, so there you go. Now you can look at the ugly face again. So the other thing for people to know is they make a three-way cutter for these.
completely worth it.
Mm-hmm. But the only kicker is it's caliber specific. So you got to buy a different one at $70 a pop for.
That's pretty much most of your three-way cutters.
Now this one you can also convert to power. Basically, what you can do is you can just take this screw out, and you can either put a little. Some people will put a bolt in there, and then just hit it with a socket. Other people, there's actually an adapter out there that threads in, and it's got a hex on it. You can hook your drill onto it. So, odor. So Nick is at a gun club meeting, I think. Sharenda had technical difficulties with something came up. Ray, I'm not sure. And unfortunately, I have some bad news. Paul is stepping away from the podcast. So I don't know if and or when he'll be coming back. So. And Billy just said, this trimmer that's on my desk, you can also do neck turning with the correct, So, unfortunately it is sad because that is an incredible amount of knowledge. And also he's just a great guy. He was always fun to have on the podcast. So, he's got some health issues he's dealing with. Right now he's got pneumonia. So, but excuse me. So he may come back at a certain point in time. I'm not sure, but right now he's stepping away. So, unfortunately, some people have noticed occasionally he would doze off during the podcast, and he says it's not just, he said it's not fair. I said it's not fair to him putting himself through being here if he's not feeling well. And then he said it's not fair to you guys to have him dozing off. So yeah, we're definitely watching out for him. So Ken is graciously agreed to step in from time to time, and then we're going to have a couple other people join us from time to time too. So if there's anybody out there that has a lot of knowledge that in particular areas of reloading, we are definitely interested. So shoot me an email or get a hold of me on social media. So, because Lord knows I don't know a shit ton of stuff. So, that's kind of the thing that I've always prided myself on is knowing what I don't know and being able to help find people that do know. So, now I have learned an incredible amount doing this podcast for the last how many years it is, but, learning and doing are two different things. So, but yeah, so it looks like I didn't see anything that said that RCBS absolutely bought out Henderson. I'm guessing they did, but I'm not sure. So, but they definitely made some adjustments to it. So, because in the little thing on the actual RCBS website it says new features from Henderson Precision, upgraded motor, micrometer, length adjustment, containment guard, brass catcher, carriage, motor mount, base plate, and more. And it easily mounts to any RCBS accessory base plate or any bench. And it includes trimmer, motor, bracket, case bin, cutter head, 7 pilots, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 30. And number 1 cowlet for 223 rem, 308 win, 65 needs more, 300 win mag, and many others. And then there's additional cutter heads, pilots, and cowlets available. So,
Definitely would be
I would.
looking at it if I was in the market for a new trimmer.
Yeah, so odor, I'd definitely look at that one instead. Jim, I'm pretty sure at this point in time won't be coming back. So I've talked to him about possibly doing a little 5-minute video that we'd play. As of now, that hasn't come to fruition, so we'll see. But yeah, Jim's definitely stepped away from the podcast due to health concerns. So, but unfortunately, they've kind of, as we all get older, we start to have more health issues. And unfortunately, at this point in time, it's kind of caught up with both of them. They have both been told that they are absolutely welcome anytime, even if it's just to pop in and say hi, hang out for a bit. I don't care, because they both have been and continue to be important parts of this podcast. So same thing with Jason and Travis, and Paul's in the chat, by the way. So Paul, I hope I didn't overstep my bounds in saying anything. I tried to give some information without giving out a lot, but yeah, Paul probably joined from when he's feeling up to it. He'll join in the chat. So, but yeah, so.
I know he's planning on shooting this summer.
Yep.
He'll be shooting with me at some Steel Challenge matches. He is planning on attending the World Speed Shoot this year. So it'll be very cool getting down there.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can do a little bit better this year than I did last year.
Well, that's the goal.
Yep.
Goals to always get better, and that's when I'm.
Well, I just need to not crap the bed on Showdown again.
Yeah.
I did it every day with this same every gun. I shot Showdown just like fell apart. And it's one of those stages that I should be able to shoot well, and I've got a mental block on it. I still ain't figured out what it is. So
yeah. It happens.
Yep.
So. But as you have explained to me, when I started worrying about other people, is don't worry about other people, worry about yourself, and worry about improving every time you pull the trigger.
Yep. And that's a big one. So just kind of
that changed my attitude for shooting.
Yeah. Because a lot of people will see me shoot, and they're newer shooters, and they're like, "Oh my God, he's really, really fast." And I'm not slow. I mean, I'm a pretty good shooter, but it's one of those things. Like I come off that stage, and I'm pissed because of how I shot, right? And people are like, "Oh my God, that was so fast." I'm like, it's like and we're also talking like I come off say roundabout, and I shoot it, and like I have like my best time is at like 2.9 or 1.95, and I've got a couple of twos in there and a couple of there, and I'm just like I'm coming off going, oh God, that was crap, right? And everybody's like, well, that was fast, and while I was probably a half second faster than most everybody else on that stage, that's not fast for me. Fast for me is 1.75 or better, right? Now world classes on that stage is 1.50 and less, right? So the guys at the major matches when they're shooting, and that's not their top end, that's their match speed. It's 1.5 seconds on those stages. Some of those guys are blowing through that at almost 1 second. Now they're not consistently doing that, and the goal is to be consistent on these stages versus being able to set a new high end pace.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to compete with yourself first.
Mm-hmm. And that's honestly, that is the biggest lesson you taught me, because that first day I came out, I was watching everybody else shoot ahead of me, and all of a sudden I'm like 4 seconds slower than the average of the people in front of me, and I'm like, oh, Bart. And that's when you said to me, you told me, worry about you and worry about improving on you. Don't worry about everybody else.
Yep. And that's
and that was huge.
That's a key takeaway in any competition, even like especially you're not showing up at a match and winning your first match. Right? Your goal at your first shooting match, and I don't care what discipline it is, not to get DQ'd.
And I didn't.
Yeah. So, and that's your, it's there to go. You learn. Don't get DQ'd. Don't worry about if you're dead last on the list. That's fine. Now, honestly, I've been shooting enough and I've taken enough new shooters to steel challenge matches. It's fairly rare for the people that I bring with you. RFPO in 55 seconds. I'm assuming it's 5.5 seconds. And I don't know what stage he would have done it in 5.5 seconds. Not 0.55 seconds. 1.55 seconds. I'm not sure what he's. I don't remember, Paul. But yeah, so rarely even I've taken new shooters. I don't think any of the new shooters I've taken to a match were actually dead last on the list.
I was not.
I mean, you were like second to last or third to last, but that's fine.
I wasn't dead last.
DQ'd.
So.
Oh no! So that is match in 55 seconds. The world for RFPO, so world record for any of them. Oh yes, there are a lot of world-class shooters. Now I understand what he's saying. There are a lot of world-class shooters that will shoot all 8 stages and like 50%, the 50 to 55, 60. So 100%, I believe, is depending on what it is right around 69 seconds, depending on the gun. So there might be a couple of seconds or difference. But yes, there are shooters that will shoot all 8 stages in 55 seconds. Now, like just to give that perspective, Paul's goal coming into this year is to get under 150 seconds, right? And then work his way down from there, right? So generally a pretty good steel challenge shooter is going to be under 100 seconds for all 8 stages, right? They're going to be in the 90s, the 80s. Really good. That next category up, they're going to be in the 70s, high 60s. World-class shooters are going to be sub 60 seconds with most guns. Now, it also depends on the division. Carry optics and most of your center fires, those are going to be the really fast divisions, might be sub 80 seconds, I think, and that's like world record type thing. Perspective, Jerry Michalik set his world record is at 86 seconds, I think, with a revolver and an optic. You're on mute, Mike.
Oh yeah, I muted, so you didn't have to hear the drill again. So BG Nagy said, my first competition was me and Tom at NRL 22. I came in 49th. Tom came in 50th. Still had a blast. I'd like to do more. It'll come when I have more time. The
fact that you didn't get DQ'd is everything, right? And you beat Tom, so
yeah, exactly.
When you beat the guys, especially when they're competitive, like so me, I don't compare myself to Paul or Mike when they come to these matches. I look at their scores, stuff like that. I compare that, try to find comparisons that make sense because I've been shooting for these matches for 5 years, 6 years now. Mike shot his first match, what was it, 2 years ago? About, yeah. And you've made it out to what, 4 or 5 matches, maybe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's so they need to compare themselves to themselves. And if you've got, now the one thing I like about Steel Challenge is you can compare yourself to like shooters, because the classification system really does allow for that, except for the guys that are at GM. I'm real close to being GM. In fact, the only reason I'm not a GM is I kind of sandbagged towards the end of the year last year.
No, what's GM stand for?
Grandmaster.
Okay.
It's the highest classification.
Right.
I'm a master class shooter.
I knew what it meant, but there may be some people who don't. So.
And so, like I can't compete. Like I can make GM. I know I can make GM in several different guns. I can't compete with the guys that are GM at this point. Right now, the master class shooters, really, I compete very well with them. At any given match, even at Worlds, I am capable of being first place or 15th place. Like I was 14th and 15th this year in master class. But had I shot a little bit better early on, where I was, because I started a little slow, and then I stumbled on one stage. The same stage each gun. I don't think I stumbled that bad on the one, but it didn't do as well as I would have liked, right? But it's one of those that even at a Worlds, at a master class level, I know I can compete. At the GM, like if I'm within 20 seconds of the world class shooters, the guys that are in the top 2 or 3, that's phenomenal. Which I have never done. I mean, those guys are shooting in rimfire rifle. The guy shot sub 50 seconds. He shot 49 seconds this year, which is one of those. It's breaking the sound barrier, right? It is just ridiculous in what it was, right? Is it doable? Yes. Is it incredibly difficult to do? Yes. Right. I mean, only one guy's done it so far in any competition, which the nice thing is he did it at World Speed Shoot, so it actually set the world record. So I could go to a local match, a level 2 match, or a level 3 match, and beat that time, and it's still not a world record.
Right.
So. But yeah, you're competing against yourself first and foremost in any of these disciplines, right? And if you can beat yourself consistently over time, then, that's a good thing.
Yep. So, well, I think that about wraps it up for tonight. I was going to do a Manus demonstration with the lovely Titan X, but we're already at 8:30, so yeah, Paul just said that you dragged him to a match and got him started. So I will go over this. I showed this off a little while ago. Actually, I actually showed it off before I was supposed to, because I didn't read the whole email that had the NDA in it. Whoops. So I pulled all that down and I put it back up now. But so a quick overview. Weighted mags, and that's all they are, is they're weighted mags. So you can drop them and load new ones. If you want, I don't know if standard Glock mags will fit in it or not. I haven't tried that. But basically, standard Glockish trigger, probably 5 pound. And so it comes with adjustability for your laser and USB-C charging and an optics plate. So if you want to put an optic on it, you can. Here's your power button, on off. You can use it. You can use it solo if you want. You're supposed to be able to use it with Laser Academy. I haven't tried. This is basically the pistol version of the Blackbeard X. I did a little demonstration with Ken when we were bullcrapping before the show. You can do just standard drills. You can do target practice. The drill I did was just trigger press. And so it shows, I'm literally just aiming at a spot on the wall. You don't need the camera on your cellular device or whatever. It's literally just using the internal Manus. Like if you had an X10 or an X3 on your rail or on your magazine, that's what it was doing. So there is a lot of different things you can do with this. Sights are all black. It does have the standard Glock look, but it's just all black. So, but it kind of glossy.
Can you replace that front sight?
I don't know.
Because it does have the optics plate in the back, it looks like.
Yeah, I haven't tried. It looks like it's molded as part of the slide. I didn't ask, and I haven't figured out if this how this comes apart. So, the slide doesn't move. It's literally just laser trigger pull. So, but it does recognize if the gun twitches and stuff. So it must have a gyroscope in it and probably an accelerometer. So.
And you're welcome, Paul.
So Oder said, I'm just trying to get my 308 to 2.2 kilometers, 1.24 miles. That's my personal challenge. No competition over here. And that distance is just because it's the longest I can shoot at the land I have. So, we'll see. There we go. You're competing against yourself. So, that's going to be a challenge because 308 goes subsonic at 1,000 yards.
Actually, I think depending on what you're loading, I think
no, I think
generally goes before
800. I think it's like 800, 850. So, I'm going to look it up so I'm not giving false information.
It's also going to depend on what you're loading too. So,
900 to 1,000 yards for 168 to 175 grain loads.
Yeah, but the guys
depending on atmospheric conditions and height above sea level.
Yeah, but you're still well above supersonic if you're shooting like an F class with a 308 1,000. We're still, I think, even at 1,200 yards, but they're running 200 grain, 220 grain projectiles, and they're shoving them pretty hard.
Yep. Oh, hi, Tom. Tom is over on Discord.
I do know the Discord stream is way behind.
Probably. Because it's using Rumble. And Rumble's behind our live, so. Because I tried using what you and I see, but it doesn't show up well. It tends to bog down. So it'd be nice. So because I'm sharing screen, so.
But I know, Oder, you can definitely do it because there's guys out there hitting hitting a mile plus with like a 6 arc, right? And a gas gun. I mean, I don't know how big their targets are. I will say that they're pretty big plates. I doubt it's a 1 MOA target at a mile. It's probably 3 or 4, but still. It's not easy to do. You're going, at 1.25 mile. That's a poke. That's definitely impressive.
Yep. Farther than I've ever shot.
I'm topped out at 1,000 personally. So
I don't even know how far I've shot. I mean, it was farm fields. So, and it was, all right. So you see that piece of whatever out in the field way the heck out there? Go ahead and see if you can hit it.
Yeah. So it was a high-tech precision setup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
High-tech redneck, baby. So, you know. Well, I think that about wraps it up for tonight, kids. It is February, so we got our lovely February patch of the month. And I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So you got an upper and a lower. You complete me. And then there's Ryan's original drawing. So, once again, you can head over to firearmsradio.net/category/podcast/reloading-2. And then you can find the link to become a Patreon through, or you can find the link to buy some of our cool merch, like the tumblers or the shirts or the sweatshirts. So the FBI stuff's still up for now. Chris has had a busy January, so we're working on planning for March. So hopefully some new designs maybe. So we'll see what happens. And I'm working on possibly having baseball hats. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we're going to give it a shot because I have a hat press now, and we'll see what happens. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yep.
So, obviously, with the change in hosts, we're going to push back the casting. We were talking about doing a casting stuff, but we're going to push that back for a little bit. Come up with some other. I'm going to find the question that somebody asked me. I dropped into We Like Shooting last night because I was home and felt like being smart ass. And so one of their regular listeners that listens to us occasionally asked a couple questions, and I thought I could go back and find them later, and turns out I couldn't. So I got to track that guy down and ask him. So, but we'll cover those next week. Also probably cover a couple things that's popping up in Discord. So, but that's about it for now. So, Ken, if you want, you can have a tagline. It's up to you.
Take some to the range.
There you go. Keep the brass shiny. Make sure you're supporting the Second Amendment, whether that's locally, statewide, nationally. Get involved in your organizations. Get involved in paying attention to who's running and hold their feet to the fire if they're already elected. But remember to be nice. So, most importantly, if you're struggling, mental health is serious. It is something you need to pay attention to. As much as we'd all like to just be manly men, we're manly men.
Tights.
That's right. We're men. We're men in tights. We roam around the forest looking for fights. That's a good movie. Mental health needs to be addressed. And you may be blessed enough to never have any serious issues, but there's enough people out there that do, that you probably come into contact with them. So, they say the number is 22 veterans a day. As far as we can tell, that's actually low. that commit suicide. That's not even counting all the regular people. So suicide is the number one non-health related killer in the States. So it is serious business. So check on your loved ones, check on your friends, keep an eye on them. If you see changes, get involved. Don't let them just say they're fine or they're okay, because obviously there's something going on there. So, and direct them to 988. If they're a veteran, they can do option 1 for the veterans hotline. If they still have a landline and they don't have a cell phone, 1-800-273-8255. If it's not a life-threatening, life or death issue, and you just need help, or you want someone else to get some help, go to Walk and Talk America. They got a lot of awesome resources there. Most of your employers have an EAP program that usually can get some free counseling also if you need it. So, and there's also online counseling. I don't remember the name of the couple. There's a couple of programs out there that are pretty good. Sometimes your insurance covers it, sometimes you don't. But a lot of times they'll work with you and give you a discounted rate. So, if you just need somebody to talk to, 608-467-0308. Shoot me a text, give me a call, and we'll get you headed out. So, in the right direction. So, all right, folks, have a great night and good night.